This is the Rolling with Tate podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tate, and this is episode 33. On this episode, I'll be joined by author and ultra endurance triathlete JD Tremblay, one of only 3 people in the world to complete an epideca. 10 Ironmans in 10 days. That's crazy. JD shares practical strategies on mindset, energy regulation, and building discipline needed for everyday life. As he says, if your goals don't scare you, set the bar higher. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Oh, and here's his book. Welcome to the show, JD. Thank you for being a guest. I really appreciate you even wanting to do my podcast because let me tell you folks, this man right here is he like I said in in the intro, this guy is he's something serious. All right. The 10 Ironmans in 10 days. He's an author. We were just talking about his book and how I think it's not just for athletes, it's for anyone. That's what I'm getting out of it. Like, even if I wasn't an athlete, I would still get something out of this book. But yeah, JD, thanks again for being on the podcast. I really appreciate you. How you doing? How you feeling?
Yeah, thanks, Dave, for having me. And you're completely right. The book is for everybody that want to, again, achieve that level of success that they want in their own life, depending on the mountain that they're trying to conquer. We talked earlier before the podcast started about fueling, and fueling is inside of the book, but many people tend to associate it with an athlete. You need to look at fueling because you're an athlete. But what about, and we use it at the Hungry Warrior Academy, where we talk about energy regulation. That's part of our system. And regulating your energy is definitely mandatory for everyone.
Listen, I don't know what the weather's like in Canada right
Canada
now.
is definitely cold.
But here in New York, in the States, majority of the States, it's pretty warm here. And while I was on my bike, I went on a bike ride 31 miles today. It's hot. That energy, that fueling, I needed. I pushed through. I made it back, but once I got home, I'm like, I need to do a better job. Once I got here in my home, I'm like, damn, that was something. But speaking of systems, right? For someone who wants to get fit, build stamina, feel good, what does that actually mean to have a training system versus just looking at random like workouts online or looking up random like fueling? What does having what does that system look like?
So in terms of having a system, it's necessary for the brain. Our brain is designed for survival, not for thriving. And so we must give our brain some form of carrot at the end of the stick so that we can run even further. So giving it that goal, giving it that direction, then we're able to create those systems and then we're able to adjust them based on where we want to lead our life. So having this goal and then having this system in place is mandatory.
Okay. So, all right, so you have the goal, create a system. So then what is, okay, like the example, all right, I'm somebody who wants to get fit, right? We take this to fitness. I want to get fit. The goal is to should I have a more direct, okay, I want to run a half marathon, right? I just ran a half marathon not too long ago. My goal was to finish. I really didn't have a time. I just wanted to finish. So if I wanted a goal time, so I'm giving myself now, I mean, a more um, specific goal. I want to finish in 2 hours and 30 minutes. How would that system look for someone who's just starting out? I don't really have um, I'm not me. Put it that way. I'm not me. Not to say I'm somebody, but say I'm not Tasia, and I don't do all these events and everything, and I'm just a regular old person, and I want to run my first half marathon in 2 hours and 30 minutes. What do I what's or what systems or what do I need to put in place to help that? Like, what should I be running weekly? Should I be How should I be fueling? How should I You get
Sure.
what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So when we're looking at what you're proposing, first advice I can give someone that is seeking that goal of 2 hours and 30 minutes or under for a marathon.
Well, I'm sorry, half marathon, half marathon.
Okay,
Not
okay, okay, a
not
half.
a full
Okay.
marathon, not a
I
full
was looking at a
marathon.
half. I'm
No, no,
like, well,
no.
you want to run
No,
your
no,
first
no.
marathon in 2 hours and 30 minutes?
No, no, no.
You're going with, well, and I would say, even if we go with the half, we would still start with the same outlook. You must define the goal and make it very specific as to what you want to achieve. And then understand the difference between being content and satisfaction. So, for example, I was at the Trail Half Marathon World Championship a few weeks ago. So I just flew in yesterday from Italy,
Mm,
and then I was on the island of Malta, and I was racing uh, some amazing athletes, and I finished fifth. Now, I was content that I was there. I was content that I finished it. I was not injured. I'm content with my position, but am I satisfied with it? No, I'm not.
mm,
Definitely not. I want a podium. And that's the mindset that you must adopt if you want to be competitive. Now, for a person that wants to perform their first half marathon or want to take on that task, they must define that goal and make sure that they have a definite understanding of the mindset that is required to finish these events. Because, as you already know, it's 80% mental and 20% physical. Even if it seems as though the athlete is only using the body, all of the events that I've done, even if sometimes they are much shorter, the majority of the bandwidth that you're using in terms of energy is with the mental side. I would say that regardless of the goal that you want to achieve, whether it's a full marathon under 230 or a half marathon in 230, which they're both significantly different outcome and they appeal to different individuals. The mindset is the key factor. And one of the story that I can say about that is when when I was doing the Epic Deca, I understood that, but one of the other athlete didn't. And when he finished the second Ironman, he threw his helmet at his team. He was really angry, and his anger would have hurt his performance for the other part of the Epic Deca. And I went to see him. I sat down with him and I said, "Do you understand that after the race, your family and all the people that are in your team will be there. They're just here to support you. So it's just an event of 10 days. And then after the event, then what is going to happen? So it's all of the small experiences that you're building over time. It's that journey.
Mm.
And if you ensure that you learn something, then you're going to grow mentally and you're going to build that resilience over time. So that's the advice that I would give in terms of how you should prepare. You should definitely prepare for the mental side. Now, in terms of a general concept as to what you want to the type of goal that you want to achieve, at the Hungry Warrior Academy, we use an acronym called BRAIN, and it stands for blood chemistry as B. R is recovery, A is attention, I is inflammation, and N is your nervous system. Now, if you're able to regulate all of these systems to the best of your ability based on the goal that you want to achieve, then you will outperform most people. So, for example, for you, you did your bike ride today. If we look at the blood chemistry, we're looking at glucose swings. So, were you not having enough carbohydrate during your bike ride? Your hydration level, was it that your cells were able to take in that type of water or the liquid that you're giving it? Was it hydrating? Some people are not taking it at the right time as well, so they think that they're healthy because they eat or they drink a shake in the morning, and then they put some strawberries and some bananas, and then they put a big shake, and then they put some maple, which again in of itself is amazing because you are having carbohydrate and that are healthy, and everything that I mentioned is healthy. It's just that the timing is not right.
Mm.
If you're taking this in the morning, cortisol levels high, and then all of a sudden you take in a lot of sugar, even though it's fructose, which is healthy, okay? But it's not the right timing if you are not using that energy. So now
Mm.
cortisol
Yeah.
levels high, you drink your shake, your insulin level is also high. So now you're ready to snap at a moment notice. You get in your car and you are just going to work. You're drinking your shake, listening to your podcast, trying to get in the mood of getting to work, and you're not spending that energy at all. It just takes one person that honks at you or one wrong turn, and all of a sudden your entire day is completely misaligned. So again, it's about energy regulation and creating that system based on what outcome you want to have. For example, someone that wants to, like you said, as a hypothetical scenario, someone wants to run a half marathon in 2 hours and 30. They're just starting. Their level of glucose will be much different than for you who has ran those types of events. And even for me as an ultra endurance triathlete, going into a half marathon, even my mind will be different than yours because, but the same general concept will be the same. The way I can put it is, you eat sugar when you're about to work out. That's it. If you're about to work out or you have spent energy and you need that quick energy, then sugar. Otherwise, leave the sugary treats alone. If you're not capable of stopping yourself, put them away. Don't leave a little bowl right beside your office or right beside your desk if you're not capable of. And most people are not, by the way. Most people are not. I have lots of treats beside me. I can't. And I'm disciplined in a lot of areas of my life, but I have those because, well, I want to perform, and I have certain types of treats beside me because I want to, again, get that quick energy. So that's just one of them, right? We're talking about, we can talk about electrolytes or the type of inflammation, but again, all of this is into one of those category, which is blood chemistry. So if you're able to really adjust that part, that's the advice that I would give, is at least understand the brain.
I'm smiling because I am that person, right? Candy, I stopped eating candy. Mostly I stopped eating candy. Like I'll have a mint. I'll have a mint. But
I'm laughing because I
like
know it's not true. You're a
listen,
cyclist.
I've stopped. So in July I was working. I work in TV production. We have Crafty, right? So that's a bunch of snacks, and so I'm sitting there at the table with the work. It's right in front of me, and then I go over there and grab, some fruit snacks and grab one. Then I grab another pack. I'm talking about a little pack. Then I grab another pack, and I sat there and I was like, I am ashamed of myself right now because I just kept eating those snacks. And I said, you know what, Tasia? Last July, I was like, I'm not gonna eat this any more candy because this was just I wasn't doing anything. I was just working. So I was smiling because I you're preaching to the choir. I haven't eaten candy. So then okay,
Yeah.
I'm
And
doing a
then
high rock.
let's look at the timing now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're in the middle of a race,
Yeah.
right? Which is completely different than at work, and now you're eating lots of candies. Would you feel ashamed if all of a sudden you're in the middle of a race and you can't stop eating candies?
No. So a friend of
Yeah.
mine who's a runner, he eats Sour Patch Kids, right? That's his thing. And I'm getting ready to do my first high rocks next week. And I'm looking at videos and it said, oh, you can eat candy, gels, blah, 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 to give you that energy like you're talking about. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I want to go back to that because will I have the self-discipline to just only use it during like high energy activities when I'm cycling, 30, 40, 50 miles, when I'm running, when I'm doing this high rocks. Will I go back to be like, oh, it's okay, let me have some candy now. Sitting down, eating, eating a bowl of Sour Patch Kids on my couch. That's what
Yeah.
I'm kind of afraid of.
Yeah. Well, when we have guys that are suffering from certain types of addictions, which sugar is a form of addiction, and it is activating the same parts of the brain as some heavy drugs. So, and it's legal and it's encouraged. So, I would qualify it as even worse. We use the acronym RISE. So RISE stands for recognize patterns, I is identity, S is structure, and E is engage in healthy challenges. So when you're able to recognize the pattern, which I just mentioned it, if you're working out, then you eat some sugary treats, then you understand where that pattern is leading you because now you understand that, well, the goal is there. And then you have your identity. Well, I am an athlete. And as an athlete, um, for some people, they don't understand that athletes have some form of discipline that they've built over time uh, because they enjoy their sports, but they also understand that if they don't follow a certain system or structure, they're not going to yield the best results. And then you will be even more ashamed if you did not take those Sour Patch Kids and then did not perform well, did not have enough energy to to outperform all the other competitors. So you need to put yourself at an advantage, and that's by taking in sugar. So you'll need to have this form of healthy relationship between you and the type of food that you indulge in. Now, S is for structure. So you create that structure that is set around all of those um, unhealthy behaviors. So for me, if I want to quit pasta or even sugary treats, well, I'm not going to have pasta, or I'm not going to have sugary treats in the house. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That I created that structure in place. Now, do I have sugar in the house? I have tons of sugar in the house. I in my tea I would put some honey. I would have again sugary treats, but that's for again certain types of. Right now, I am on a podcast. I need to be wired. I am going to take it, but at the same time, as soon as this is over, I'm going workout, right? So now I understand and I recognize those patterns. My identity is being an athlete, so I need to keep that physique, and then I create a structure that is around it, and then I engage in healthy challenges, which you might bring in a friend, and that friend you might be able to help them along as well. You want to do a high rocks? How about we do this? I'm not going to take any sugary treats until we get over there, which is in a week. And then in 1 week, then I will indulge into it. After it, we'll engage in another healthy challenge. And now you're able to help other people and also yourself. And yeah, I'm sure you'll love the high rocks. It's quite the event. So, yeah.
So what you're saying is it's okay to, to have some Sour Patch Kids because I want some. I want some anyway because it's like, ah, damn, I haven't had any. But it sounds like what you're saying is okay. Use it for this specific goal, this race, this event. Then
Yeah.
don't have it in your house. Don't keep it. Finish it, and once it's done, it's done. And only use it when you know, like, I'm doing a century. Get the Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
Um, After that, finish it, throw it away, whatever. Do not do that because you won't need it. Is that what you're saying?
That's if you can't control yourself. See, I have um, celebratory cigars in my house, right? I have one every year with my dad around Christmas time. Now, do I consider myself a smoker? I smoke the odd cigars to celebrate. Would I encourage every athlete to partake in this activity? Definitely not. But I do
Mm-hmm.
because I enjoy doing it with my dad. The idea here is, and see, I'm a Christian guy, so I like to use Bible analogies.
Mm-hmm.
Is that in the Bible, you look at Jesus' first miracle was to change water into wine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is wine something that you should not partake in? It's not the wine itself. It's the lack of self control
Yeah.
and the idea that you can make somebody else sin as a result. So if for me, I have such an unhealthy relationship with food and Sour Patch Kids, and then you eat Sour Patch Kids
Mm-hmm.
right in front of me, well, that's not nice. That's not conducive to my growth. And so you're not helping me. Therefore, eventually, if I am a good friend, I will probably cut you out of my life because I want to achieve my success. And my success, my mountain that I want to achieve is I don't want to eat Sour Patch Kids. I'm not an athlete, so to speak, right? And then it's the lack of self control. So it works for every single pattern. If for you have this problem, then I will try to refrain from indulging in that type of behavior because I want to show you some love and I would love to hang out with you, and show you some level of respect. And then for the lack of self-control, it would be the same pattern. For you, you are to work at it. The Bible talks about rewiring your brain all the time. So renewing your mind. So that's those are the words that are used. So that doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. That just means that you are a work in progress. And I am also a work in progress. I am constantly trying to improve on different parts of my life. And so are you. So um, that would be it's Renee Brown that is known for talking about the difference between shame and guilt. And
Mm-hmm.
so shame being that I am bad and then I have done something bad, being the guilt part. So understanding that guilt is your responsibility. You should be accountable for your action. Understanding I ate those. Am I guilty about it? Well, in that context, yes. So always look at the context that you are eating it. If you're eating it at a competition, it is healthy. You need to replenish that glycogen level, because if you
Mm-hmm.
don't, you will crash. You will not have
Right.
enough energy and you will not be competing at the highest level that you can be. So as an athlete, is it good to indulge in a ton of sugar? I know my kid, that's what really got him into running, and he became the two-time world champion in trail half marathon as a
Wow.
result. Why? Because I told him, I said, Noah, you can't be eating sugar all the time. Uh, and I said, Noah, I'm an ultra triathlete. And he said, well, Dad, you're always eating sugar. And I said, yes, Noah. But you know the amount of energy that I spend in a day working out? Now I need to compensate in some ways to replenish that glycogen level. So my son said, wait, you're telling me I can eat as much candies as I want if I'm working out? And I said, well, relatively speaking, yes, I would say so. I'm telling you, my son was in the aisle of that, and he was filling up the cart with candies and all sorts. But he said, well, I'm going to work out. And I said, you know what? As long as you're spending that energy, you're outside. It's healthy behaviors. He's outside, not on video games. The kid is learning a new skill, improving his life, improving his health, and showing to other people that it's possible, and showing, I would say, at that point, you'll figure it out. You will definitely figure out the mentality behind it. And by recognizing those patterns as to when you need it, then you'll build the self-discipline and the control over it.
I am. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it. I mean, I have created this self discipline because I've hadn't had it those type of candies since July of last year. I will also cut out soda. Um, so I do have the discipline, but it's easy when you don't. It's not right in front of you. You know what I'm saying? But even when it is right in front of you, I've done good. But now I'll be reintroducing it in, you know, for this competition and see how I do. Like, okay, cool, it worked. I do have the self discipline not to continue on eating this candy sitting on my couch, or not working out, or not using that energy like you said, because and I see that for a lot of people with types of foods. It's it is that is what you said, is definitely that self discipline.
Yeah.
and,
But
and
would it
and
be that you can get the sugar from another source, right? There are
yeah.
lots of other source that if all of a sudden, right? Let's say hypothetically, I don't know the specific. If you want to share, that's fine. Let's say for you, it's specifically that type of candy. So for me, I know that it's fuzzy peach. Okay, when I go for me, that's my type of candy. I if I start a bag, it's very difficult for me to stop. But for all of those gels, the jujubes, I enjoy them, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to stop.
Yeah.
So this one, this bag of fuzzy peach, I can't stop. So why would I use this
Right.
in a competition? Why would I use? And it's funny because I should show you my when I did the Epic Deca, when I do ultra races, I create these like for the Epic Deca is 30-page, somewhat of a report
Mm.
explaining how to behave in an emergency situation, what type of topics I enjoy talking about in case that my mental focus is
Mm.
not there. So those are all mind tricks that my team can use to get me back on track. And it's written the emergency tool is fuzzy peach. So if but again, I can't stop eating them. I'm just, oh, I love them so much, right? So with that being said, if it's that candy, I use it for me. It's in
Mm-hmm.
my report and all my ultra races. All my teams know that, and when they're supporting me, that it's my emergency candy. I also understand that Coca Cola is used only in emergency.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that you would need Coca Cola during a high rocks. I am the world record holder for the fastest high rocks in firefighting gear. So I've
Mm.
yet, yeah, I've yet to do a a high rocks in just
Plain
uh,
clothes.
yeah, plain clothes or um, but I've done multiple in firefighting gear, um, and I would say you don't need it to outperform everybody, unless you are really trying to compete. Then yes, I would. But for your first one, I would say no pop. You don't need that. And then uh, for the sugar portion, I would not go with those Sour Patch Kids. I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of what you mentioned about the self control, that it might happen that you want to indulge after. And also, you can't really count the amount of carbs that you are having
Mm-hmm.
because it's necessary for that type of those types of events, and you know that. So for me, I use precision fuel and hydration, where you drink a gel or you take in a juju, and you know that it's going to be 30 grams of carbs. So now you're able to calculate the amount of carbs that you are taking in for that one. Another factor that must be talked about is that your brain is wired for, again, survival. So what the craving is often the sugar. So you're craving the sugar, you're craving the carbs, but it's all the other parts that are unhealthy. So you're, for example, some people crave sugar. They get into a
Mm-hmm.
donut shop, they crave sugar. So the sugar portion is what their brain wanted, but all of a sudden now they're having all the fat part of the donut that is going to get into their system, and then because they're not able to stop, because all they wanted was the sugar, and maybe sometimes with one donut is not enough to have that craving go away, because it's based on the amount of carbs, not on the amount of all the fat that you're getting in, or even
Mm-hmm.
carbs through bread. It's the amount of sugar that you wanted. So sometimes even just taking in a gel or taking literal raw sugar and putting it on your tongue will suffice these cravings without having the bad portion
Mm,
of the food that you're ingesting. So that's another mind trick that people can use when they are having some cravings.
okay. So next time I'm craving something sweet, just go into my little sugar jar, get get some sugar,
Right? I do
and it
that.
do,
Yeah.
and it do the trick.
Yeah. Yeah. I drink maple syrup, right? I'm real
What?
Canadian, right? So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have jugs of maple syrup, and then if I am craving sugar and I really want it, I understand that there is a unless it's a I'm on a spiritual fast, or like I must understand that, because that's the thing is it, eating is a form of worship. And so when you start looking at it from a different mindset, when you start looking at, then when you're craving something, that means that there is a lack somewhere else. So now what you must be looking at, if it's not in terms of a competition, if it's in terms of just your life in general, you must be looking at, where else am I lacking in my life? Like, where am I lacking in terms of this eternal restoration, so to speak? So, how is my relationship with the divine? That's the way that you should be looking at it when you're craving something.
You know, people say your body is your temple, which I believe. Like you should be conscious of what you put in it, and especially here in America, there's a lot of unhealthy things that is just easily accessible.
Hmm.
And you can tell sometimes when you eat certain things, it's like, I shouldn't have eaten that. Like I don't feel well. I don't feel well, you know. And going back to the candy thing, I didn't feel unwell, but I just felt like I overindulged. I should have stopped at one pack, maybe even two packs. But why am I eating so much candy? What is it? You know, so it's just like I went cold turkey. I'm like, I could stop this. I could stop this. But then going back to what you said before, you know, giving me that energy when I really need it, I'm going to then look at it a different way. Like, okay, if I do have this candy, maybe not the Sour Patch Kids, maybe Swedish Fish, or maybe something, it will. I'll just look at it like it's a tool, right?
Yeah.
Not just something that I'm overindulging in when I'm not performing. If I'm not performing, I shouldn't be eating this candy.
Yeah. That's why it's important to recognize those patterns so that you can create some new pathways on how you direct your life, because otherwise you're similar to a person who has a coin for being 20 years sober, and then
Yeah,
someone just serves them a drink that they thought was a virgin drink, but there was some form of alcohol in it, and then all of a sudden they break that 20-year coin and they're no longer sober because they had that one drink. Or they get to a wedding and they're constantly reminded that they cannot indulge in certain types of behavior, which again becomes a stringent lifestyle.
right.
And you need to have this form of balanced life. And when I say balanced life, I say it with all respect to Olympians, okay? Because if you are the type of athlete that wants to go to the Olympic, that's a complete different mindset, because those are individuals that will sacrifice years of their life just for sometimes a few second race, or gaining an advantage on their competitors. So those are individuals that will have to be strict about their diet, will have to be strict about their lifestyle. So that's a completely different discussion. But for the normal individual, which your question was again alluded to it. It was about a person doing a 2:30 half marathon, which is quite normal. It's an individual that is starting. There is You need to have a healthy relationship with food. If you are not competing, then how about you have this type of food? And then you can start looking at, and we talked about it earlier, as to inflammation. Is this type of food creating a certain type of inflammation in my system? So if this type of food is creating inflammation, I can have it under certain circumstances because of the pattern that I recognized. So now, even though the food is accessible, right, then I'm not partaking in them if I don't want to, because now you recognize those patterns. Similarly to some individuals that they must have no alcohol inside of their house, or they must have none of those candies inside of the house because of, right, do I have candies in my house? Yes, I do. I love candies. However, oh, I do. I really do. Yeah. However, do I take them only? Yes. Why? Because I have a healthy relationship with them. And then does it happen that sometimes I sit on the couch and I eat an entire bag? Yes. Now, is it at the same time that I was training for an event? Now that's where the shame should come in,
Mm,
that I did not uphold the highest standard. I was supposed to go for that goal, and I did not give my 100%. So that's where the responsibility and the accountability should be in place.
that makes sense. That makes sense to me, and I agree with that. And then going back to the scenario that I gave you about the person who wanted had a goal of 2:30, and just in general, athletes know. I you already mentioned it about like conversations you need to have with yourself. It's you said what, 80% mental? Like your body, you can do all the burpees, you can do all the, to me, the running laps, you can do all this, but it's your mental. Like for me, riding 100 miles, I my body, I would say my body gave up quicker than my mind. My mind was saying, just keep going, just keep going. It's almost over. I had to talk myself, my body into like, keep it, like, just go ahead, girl. You're almost there. 93 miles, you only have 7 miles to go. Those challenges. It's I'm talking to myself, and like I don't even
Mm.
know how I'm doing these things because it's at this point I'm like, really, I'm still going, but it's my mind. So it is a lot to do with your mental. um when you are training for, to me, when you're training for any event, like, it's just okay, just keep going, just keep going. That's what I have to tell myself for a lot of these events, for like
Yeah.
99%, just keep going, just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are different mental games that we play with each other. One of them was, it was really funny. I was, one client asked me to do he called me the night before and he said, I'm not prepared. I need help finishing a grand fondo. Can you help me? And it was the night before. So I said, yes, of course. So I packed up my bike and I put in my car and then I drove over to the race. So I did a grand fondo. One time we were we were halfway and I said, "Oh yeah, we're almost there." So at first he believed me and he said, "Oh yeah, okay, so we're almost there." And then after a while, we're like three quarters there, and he said, "You said that we were almost there." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there." So he just believed me. So we were, and then at the end, he was just laughing at it because he said, You told me since the halfway mark that we were almost there, and I believed you. And in my mind, we are. I'm thinking all of those distance are quite relative to how your brain perceives it. It is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You look at, like, for me, like, yes, going 100 miles is it's how you look at it. If you look at it as it's immense and I'm never gonna finish. Well, okay, if you look at what 100K is, roughly 3 hour for an average person, three and a half, give or take. That's it. Just go for 3.5 hour bike ride, and then split those 3.5 hours into parts. Where now, after 1 hour, you reward yourself with a certain type of gummy. So a Sour Patch Kid every hour, and you
Mm-hmm.
only have 3 gummies. So you have 4. There you go. Right? You understand that well. You're touching in your pocket. Oh, you only have 4 left. Oh, now you have 3 left. Those are all mind games that you're playing with your brain. And so it's, again, those distances are just relative, because I thought one story to really drive the point home is, when I told my grandfather on my dad's side, I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go do the Epic Deca, Grandpa," and my grandpa started crying. Yeah, this construction guy, and he started crying. Oh no, my grandson is going to die, and I said, "What? What?" All I said was I was gonna do 10 Ironman in 10 days on 6 different Hawaiian islands. I understand it's massive. I was scared. Okay, I was scared for sure, but I was willing to push those limits. See what's on the other side. And now I'm counting in Ironman. Like, oh yeah, like one Ironman here and one Ironman there. It's all relative to what you have accomplished and what you
Mm-hmm.
perceive as what you can. And then when you talked about the mindset, again, those numbers are relative. This 80-20
Mm-hmm.
is arbitrary, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, it's not real.
Right.
There's no quantifiable like 80-20, but it's just to show that there is a huge gap between what is necessary and what's needed for the mental capacity versus the physical one. Uh, and then one thing I would say about the difference between an elite athlete and an amateur is the level of focus that an
Mm-hmm.
elite will have towards their race. Their coach are paid to remove any form of distraction. The athletes that perform the best in the Olympics are the ones that only think about that race.
Mm.
So when you're looking at an Ironman, these people at minute 1, they're thinking about the race. Minute 2, they're thinking about the race. Minute 3, they're thinking. And
Mm.
then the race can last for 7, 8 hours. They're constantly thinking about the race. They're not thinking about their family, about their job, and they're not even playing mind games with themselves. All they're trying to do is to make sure that you are focusing on the race. So, as an athlete, if you are wanting to improve, definitely mind games will be to improve. And that's why I started with this, no matter what the goal you're picking, always start with improving your mindset before improving your weight. That's where I was going, before improving your physical aspect. Because a lot of people say, well, I'm going to go to the gym to lose weight. Before even losing weight physically,
Mm-hmm.
you must change your mindset as to how you're going to perceive the gym, how you're going to perceive that environment. Because once you change that mindset, if it's 4 in the morning and your alarm clock rings, you're going to go to the gym. Why? Because you changed your mindset to go to the gym at that. And so now that's why the mindset is way more important than the physical one, because it's easy to lose weight. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to change that mindset.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. What was your mindset to say I'm a signer for the Epideca? What was like? Was it just like, you know what? I just want to do it, or yeah, I like to challenge myself. And is it just the challenge, the challenging yourself, or I'm sure people thought you were crazy.
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Even after I finished it, there was a beautiful contract. A guy, he could have propelled me. As soon as I finished the Epic Deca, I met the guy. He's well known. Um, and so, again, I'm not going to name names and all that, but he
Mm-hmm.
could have taken my brand to a whole new level. I'm glad that he didn't right away, because I wasn't ready. I would have been prideful. Now I'm a lot more humble about it. But I was training with the guy, and he said, "No, I'm not promoting your brand on all of my social media, because you should belong. You belong in a mental institute with what you just accomplished. Like, this is not normal what you just accomplished." And the mindset, reverting back to the question that you posed, is the mindset was, I wanted to be different, and I wanted to push those limits. And that race was happening just one time in history. So I thought, let's do something that is completely different than others. That's the way that I've always dealt with my life. If you see people, and that's something that I think a lot of people, if they did not learn that um, in their life, they might have learned it through the COVID period, is that when everybody is heading into one direction, maybe the answer is on the other side. So that's that. I already understood that, and I wanted to be different. I understood that I was built for doing ultra events. So I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to do something, yeah, that would spark some curiosity. And it was the I I took a screenshot of my coach response when I told him about it, because I was not registered for the Epic Deca at first. I did not train for the Epic Deca either. I was registered for two world championship, and I added two other world championship afterward. I was registered to over 10 major races, including half Ironman, trail marathons. My schedule was already planned and already full. There's a guy in New York. He was a doctor. He's still a doctor, but he was in New York, and he got injured, got hit by a car, and he posted on his Facebook. He said, "I am injured, can't do the Epic Deca, but I'm one of the 10." And there's a voice in my head that said, how about you buy it from him? So I I inquired to Joe, said, "Can I buy your registration for the Epic Deca?" And he said, "Yes." So then I contacted my coach and I said, "Hey, Jeff, um, what would you say if I said I want to do an Epic Deca?" Right? So he said, "What is that?" So I explained to him what is an Epic Deca, and he said, "No, like, this is a bad idea, like, really bad idea." He said, "Let's say that okay, first off, it's never been done. Second off, we're training you for all these other races. And even if you finish it. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, you finish it. Okay. I'll entertain that you can finish it. You are going to ruin your entire season because it's at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, he says, the race is in May. And right now you're asking me at the end of January. Like, this isn't what, like 3 months? You're telling me in 3 months I'm going to go and do 10 Ironman. Sure. And add it to all these other races. And it requires a certain level of sacrifice and dedication and understanding that it might yield the best result and it might not. And that's the sacrifice that a lot of athletes are doing when they're training. They're training for the Olympics. It requires that level of commitment that is so driven. And so it's not in the book because once I wrote the book, I was not in a position of even giving those advice to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not really understand what I was doing or what I had done. But now I'm able to explain it because financially I have recovered. But now I'll tell you is that I was $20,000 in debt, had $15,000 now to pay to Joe for my registry, and that was just the registration for the Epic Deca. So I need a minimum of $35,000 just to break even, and I'm not flying 4 people plus myself, so 5 people, flight ticket there to Hawaii and back, hotels, rental cars, food, equipment, all the specialized nutrition, plus, yeah. So I sold my house.
To do it?
Yep. 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 I sold my house. I was committed to go do the Epic Deca. And I took the money. I flew to Hawaii. And that's it. That's another story about burning the boats. I sold my house. Yeah. I even did an interview right after the Epic Deca. It put me in the newspaper. And when I did the interview with the guy, he said, "You sold your house so you can go do that race." Like, I'm not putting this in the newspaper. What I'm gonna put in is, you made your money through real estate. And I was like, yeah, well, that's one way of framing it. Yep. So I was very committed, and you see, those are some of the stories. Now it's a success story, but it could have really ended in a bad story because after the Epic Deca, I was, yeah, I was in a like, it's still a room, right? So it's still a bedroom, but it was used as a storage unit. So I had a lot of boxes. And I was sleeping in an area that was smaller than the bottom of that table, and all the boxes were, so it could have ended up being bad. But that's a level of courage that military members are going through. They're going to war. They don't even know if they're going to come back. Police officers, they don't know if they're going on patrol. It might end up that they're doing 20 years and they see nothing, and it might end up that on their first call they're not coming home. Firefighters, same idea. You might go for 20 years and not see something traumatic. And it might be that on your first call at 17 years old, you're joining the force. Yay! You're a firefighter. And then you see something completely traumatic that just transforms your path. And as we go back to athletes, well, that's the reason why we make those sacrifices. That there are some peoples that their mountain that they're trying to go on top is, I want to get off the couch because I'm unhealthy. I have this medical condition and it's preventing me from moving forward. Or I'm going through a divorce and somehow, or I made some bad life choices and now I have uh, court and I have some problem with the law. It might be that your mountain is completely different than an athlete, but what the reason why those athletes are there is not just for entertainment, is for us to use them as an inspiration to for a certain level of discipline. And so that's something that you can even use as an athlete. That's what you're doing as an athlete. You're providing a certain level of inspiration for all of these other people around the world to be able to say, wow, I want to be like Tay. I want uh, to be a person that is building a podcast, so therefore building a community that is healthy and doing healthy challenges, that is cycling, that is running, an individual that is always striving for growth. Right? I want to be like you, right? And I'm learning as well from you, and I'm getting inspired from you. So that's what we're doing, and we're willing to do those sacrifices. All of those parties that you missed, all of those sometimes family reunion because well you have a competition to attend, all of those, these are sacrifices that are going to remain in the shadow and no one is going to really know about every single one of them other than God, but you did them so that you can achieve a certain level of success in your sport. And now you're even trying new sports too.
I am. I am. And I
Yeah.
I would say some people have saying, I've inspired them, and the same thing. I've been inspired by other people by seeing their journey, by seeing them participate in these events, these competitions. It's like, well, I want to give that a try. So that's one of the reasons why I post stuff. And if I feel like this, if I can do it, I think anybody can do it, right? Because I'm not this elite athlete. I'm just a regular person who likes challenges and is willing to try, and that's all I could do is try, right? You mentioned learning earlier. Yes, I want to learn. I think we as people should continue to learn as we age, and now we spoke what last month, and I talked about strength training and certain things that now I'm implementing into my training. I'm strength training, and then uh, certain endurance training, and just like you said, trying new events and sports. I want to continue that as I age, because I just don't want to, I don't know. I just enjoy it, and it's challenging. It's going to be hard, but I'm willing to commit and sacrifice. I'm willing to do that, and yeah. And I
Yeah,
hope
that's
I always stay like that. I hope I always continue to stay like that. Like, all right, just keep going, just keep going. Yeah.
yeah, that's the hunger mentality, which is what the book is about exactly. It's about having this insatiable, um, an irresistible desire for growth and learning, and as a result, you reach a a sense of purpose. And that's what you're discovering as well, is that it's not these events that create that purpose. It's all of that journey, all of these experiences,
Mm-hmm.
individuals that you are connecting with, sometimes through your podcast and oftentimes in person, all of these people that you're meeting and now you're inspiring as well that you mentioned. This is part of life. And by having that sense of purpose and that insatiable mindset growth, you're able to overcome certain, characterize them as illnesses, but they are considered illness, such as, well, depression, right?
Right.
Because now you have this sense of community, you have this sense of purpose, right? There are people, they are still in bed, they have difficulty getting out of bed. And so uh,
Mhm.
they have a lot of depression. Well, what if I said, well, you have difficulty getting out of bed? Well, someone I know, for me, we have one of the coaches, next Navy SEAL. I can tell you right now that if I stayed in bed, it would be a pleasure for him to come and grab me and throw me out of bed. And uh, although it might be more of a male mindset that
Mhm.
I personally would appreciate. I can we can also understand that he would not literally do this, and it's a
Mhm.
figure of speech. He is this gentle giant too, so. um, but that the idea is that because you have these individuals in your community, you want to outperform yourself and you want to please them as well. And so now you're helping yourself and helping them in the process.
Yeah. And I think I'm so blessed, right, to be, for the most part, nothing is wrong, right? All my limbs work. I don't have pain when I get out of bed. I can, like, I'm good. So why not, for me, use my body, right? Push it to a limit. Just like, what I'm saying? When I see people, I see videos on Instagram of um athletes that are missing an arm and doing high rocks, or athletes that are missing a leg and riding a bike. And in my mind, I'm like, what's my excuse? If I don't want to do something, that's fine. But what's my excuse for something that I say I want to do, right? I say I want to do this, but then I'm like, I don't feel like it. I ain't. But this person who literally has one arm is throwing wall balls. What I should, so that's another reason why I do these things. It's like,
If they're
nothing's
able to
wrong with
do
me.
it,
Right.
yeah,
If they're able to do it,
then I
why
should
can't
be able
I?
to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it puts you into a humble state as well. Like, and when you understand your limit, that's what I love about sports, is you're able to understand your limits. Like when you see guys that are doing like mixed martial arts and now they understand their strength, mm, unless they're there for the clout, a lot of them are able to have that sense of restraint or discipline to refrain from using their strength for um, the sad part of destroying the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're able to understand your limits and you're able to push them. You're able to inspire others. That's why I love sports and growth as well. So yeah, and I like that it's that you're able to you're able to use all of the experiences that you've had in other parts of life. So
Right.
if you build some mental resilience over in sports, now you're also able to build it in your personal life or even in business.
That I agree with. I can, if I can run these 10 miles in the mountain, I can, this is a cakewalk to me. I do use that. Like, I look at it like, Tasia, you did this. You did this hard thing, this hard event. I try to use it in non-event worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like, you said, have it translate into my regular life.
Yeah.
My regular life.
Yeah.
Um, so before we wrap up, tell me about your academy.
Yeah. We have the Hungry Warrior Academy. It's online courses, online sessions with individuals that are not perfect, but they have been either in certain types of, I would call them war. For some of them, they literally have been to war. And it is to help men have more clarity and discipline in their life and grow physically, mentally, and spiritually. And then the way we use, we are different than all the others, is that we use facts and logic, and we use science to really optimize their performance. We talked about it earlier, at a really a surface level with the brain acronym, but now we're going to be able to dive even more into the energy regulation by understanding all of those biomarkers and understanding how they can use it to optimize their performance. And with the money, well, we use our profit to, we have a philanthropic side, which is the Hungry Warrior Academy Africa. We are now in 5 different countries. 2 of them are in Africa. Our headquarter is in Kenya. And we have a team of mentors that are providing for thousands of children around the world uh, houses and clean water and all of these amenities that are necessary and needed for these kids around the world. So yeah,
Wow, that's dope. That is dope. I
yeah. And
that's
the way we're different, even in philanthropy, is that a lot of those organizations, they give money and tools. These money and tools in those countries end up in the wrong hands, which very often it happens. Okay. Um, so the way we're different is that we have a mentorship program to help those children have a different mindset.
mm, mm-hmm.
And when you change their mindset, even if you remove the tools or you remove the money, they're less likely to end up in certain types of uh, unhealthy behaviors, such as crime or terrorism, in some instances. So, one of them, one of our, well, one of my personal favorite story is we have 3 girls that well, we sponsored an entire team, and they were recruited to be part of the national team. And God willing, if they stay with the national team and we keep mentoring them, and if God wants it, if because they're part of the national team, in 2028 they are going to go to the Olympics. And so going from the slums where they come from to the Olympics, for me, I'm looking at probably funding the movie about it. So yeah, we're doing very well for this, because again, it's about the mindset and transforming people's lives. So yeah, that's what we do at Hungry Warrior Academy.
That's really good. And going back, it is all about the mindset. It's all about the mindset with everything. You know, it's so train your body, but train your mind.
And your
you
mind,
got
yep.
you got to train your mind, because your body will be like, I'm done, but your mind is like, nah, let's keep going. Let's
Mhm.
keep going. Where can people find your book? I'm still reading it. I think it's a really good book. And you don't have to be an athlete to like really get something from the book. in my opinion. But it's just you talk about love, like you you talk about a lot of things in here, just in general. Uh, I think it's yeah. Where can people find the book?
The book is on Amazon. It's been a bestseller on French, English, and Spanish, and it's in 5 different languages. Right now, if someone wants it in a different language, I'm open to even translating it in in another language, just to make sure that as many people can read it and have access to it. So that I understand that for some people, it's not their cup of tea to what we have to serve in terms of services, or
Hmm.
in some instance our fees are too high, so I can understand that and I can appreciate it. The book is for sale, at a level that many people can learn a lot of the tricks and tools that at a price that is very affordable for everybody. So yeah.
That's right. I definitely say check it out, read it, and JD, thank you so much. I really appreciate this conversation. I had some other questions, but we were just going off of like the vibe and the flow of it. And I think to me, those are the best interviews because it's like, okay. And it's to me relatable, right? Because I'm using myself. So now I can go back and be like, okay, all right, JD said this candy.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the
Yeah.
candy. um, but I think people can take away something from this episode, relating to being an athlete, just starting out, or in life in general, because it all comes back to your mindset. Really, that's what it is. It really is. It comes back to your mindset, as you mentioned. But yeah, thank you again
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Those are the people that we work with.
yeah.
Really, it's not the fittest people. It's not the, yeah, we do train Olympians and CEOs, and um, but the people that the reason why we work with them is because they have the right mindset. They understand that they might not be the fastest, or they might not be the fittest people, or the smartest people, but when you have the heart for something and you're willing to make all of the required sacrifices to achieve those results, you will yield some amazing and tremendous results. Those are the types of people we want to work with. So it's all about the mindset, like you said.
Thank you again. This is the Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.